vaccinating our kids and whether to mandate it. And that's where we begin tonight with a strong voice on the subject, Arne Duncan, Education Secretary under President Barack Obama. Arne, it's great to have you with us in studio. You know this question's coming. If you were still the Education Secretary, would you recommend a mandate for kids 5 to 11 to get back to school?
Well, thanks so much for having me. And this is not a political issue. This is a medical issue. I think we all, as parents, as educators, as community leaders, we want to keep our kids safe. And as you said, kids have missed so much school, and the impact of them, not just academically, but psychologically, emotionally, being away from their friends for 12, 18 months. Right. Tremendous losses there. So if we know the vaccine is safe, which we do, and there's been 1 million doses, I think, to kids, 5 to 11
the first
now
week, yeah.
Already. No issues that we're aware of. If we can keep kids in school learning, if we can keep them and the teachers and the bus drivers and the parents safe, we have every educational, every moral, every medical obligation to do exactly that.
Do we mandate it? That's the question.
I think going forward, we're going to have to move in that direction.
Really?
And where you have kids missing school, where you have kids sick, where you have some kids dying. We've had mandates on vaccines, as you know, tens of millions of kids for decades. Mm-hmm. Polio, mumps, measles, MMR, measles, mumps, rubella. Vaccines in schools are nothing new. It's never been an issue. It's not a medical issue.
It is for a lot of people, though, Arne. And why is it so controversial then?
Well, I think, unfortunately, as we've gotten smarter scientifically, the politics have become more poisonous, more divisive. And education has to be the ultimate bipartisan issue. Keeping our kids safe, keeping them healthy, keeping them learning has to be the ultimate, not bipartisan, nonpartisan issue. This is absolutely the right thing to do for children across the country. You probably saw yesterday in Texas where the governor had put in place a prohibition where districts couldn't mandate masks. Right. The court struck that down yesterday because parents sued parents of children with Down syndrome, saying how this made them unbelievably vulnerable. We can't allow that to happen.
Arne, I had someone ask me the other day, since when do I have to co-parent with the government or with a school district? Shouldn't this be my decision? What would you say to them?
Well, I'd say, again, for decades here in the United States of America, you, me, our children, we have all had mandated vaccinations to attend school, and never once was there an outcry about that. Never once, because it was a safe, healthy, medically sound thing to do. That is more true today than ever before. And people use the analogy of a seatbelt. It's actually much more significant than that. With a seatbelt, if I don't wear my seatbelt, I'm just endangering my own life. I'm not endangering yours. If you don't get vaccinated, if you're passing the COVID virus onto someone else, they might get sick, they might die, they might infect someone else. We have a moral obligation not to put our kids in that situation.
Do you think, Arne, that the situation we're in right now, we've already been fighting over masking. You know what's going to happen when this vaccine mandate goes in for students, 5 to 11. There are a lot of people who are iffy on it, and they are pro-vaccine, right? But they're not quite sure about whether it's worth it in their kids, and they want a little more time to discuss. What happens if this goes the way of the mask debate?
Well, I think we need to keep talking to parents, informing them, having an honest conversation. Like you said, we absolutely want parents involved in every part of a child's education. But if this becomes increasingly clear, as I promise you it will, that this is safe, this is effective, this stops people from getting sick. And I just think about how many days have kids missed of school already? Do we want any kid to miss another day of school for any reason?
But are you worried that there's going to be more fallout from all of these parents who, regardless of any of that, are not going to get their kids this shot?
Yeah, again, there may be healthy discussion, debate, whatever, but you have to do the thing that is right educationally, that's right morally, and that's right medically. And I think the evidence, the facts are unequivocal here.
Let's talk about how education's become this new hot button issue politically. We saw what happened in Virginia. It was a key component in the governor's race. We also saw what happened in Loudoun County, where parents are going to these school board meetings. Are you worried that this new issue is going to spread like this and these protests that we have seen across the country?
Well, it's complicated. Like I said, I really want parental engagement, parental involvement. When I was running the Chicago public schools here for 7.5 years in D.C., the more parents are engaged and active, that's good. What I think we have to figure out is what we can do together. And the former governor of Mississippi, Governor Bryant, and I wrote a recent op-ed together. He's a conservative, Republican. I'm a Democrat. And we just talked about what are things we can agree on. We can agree on high-quality education, how game-changing that is. We can agree on high standards. We can agree on supporting infrastructure in schools. We can agree on accountability and transparency. And there's so much that we can agree on. I think if we execute on those things, a lot of the noise, a lot of divisiveness will go away.
Do you agree or disagree that if mandates become an issue for kids, this is going to become very chaotic?
I hope not. I hope not. Now, maybe
I fear it is, though.
I share your fears, and I don't want to be naive here, but we have to follow the science. We have to educate. We have to inform. We have to bring parents along, share the research, share everything. But we have to do the right thing. And there's not a child in school today, millions of children who did not receive the MMR vaccines.
Right.
This has been happening forever.
Arne, every time I get together with you, I love to talk about what you're doing right now, which is so important. You've come back home to Chicago, and you're trying to address the issue of gun violence. You have an amazing organization called Chicago Cred that's doing great things. Big picture this for me, though, and for our viewers, Arne. They might, from the outside, look in and say Chicago is absolutely on fire and a mess. What do they not understand about what's happening here with crime?
So violence here is at an unacceptable level. It is heartbreaking. It is tragic. It is devastating. That's our reality. Having said that, I'm also extraordinarily hopeful because I get the privilege every day of working with young men and women on the South and West sides who have been caught in these cycles of violence, who are putting down the guns and moving in a very different direction because they have amazing life coaches, because they're getting clinical support to help them heal from their trauma. They're getting their high school diplomas. They're going on to employment. We have 40 employees that are hiring across the country. So I know what's possible in a really dark time. We have to keep scaling and keep working with more young men and women.
One thing you've learned through all of this work that surprised you and that people don't understand. One thing stands out to me, and that is that a lot of people think these people are making tons of money. The gangbangers, whatever. That wasn't the case. Is that what you would point to?
There's so many myths, but yes, I would start right there that no one is winning now, Joe. No one is winning. They're risking their lives. They're getting shot. The police are chasing them, and they're making often less than minimum wage every single day. If we offer them a chance to make good money in the legal economy, 99% of folks are going to take that.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.